most selfish things that we can do as Christians is have a testimony and not share it with others. You see, what's powerful about the Bible is most of the miracles that happened and most of the times people were healed, it wasn't because they were just in the right place at the right time. It's because they had heard about the Messiah and they went to see with their own eyes and they went and sought him out. You see, in John 4:46 through 54, it says that the royal official had heard that Jesus was healing all these people. And so that's how he knew that this man might be able to heal his own son. So just know how important it is to tell your story, because there is somebody, I know there is somebody going through the exact same thing that you are. And your voice of reason and the way that you went through it and dealt with it, the scriptures you use, the testimony that you can tell can truly bring life to someone else's situation. It says here in Revelations 12:11, it says that they triumphed over him by the blood of the Lamb and the words of their testimony. You see, a lot of people think a testimony is just an account of one's events or something that happened. But actually, it's a declaration of faith is what a testimony is. So when we testify, we're not just saying, hey, I used to be a drug addict and now I'm no longer a drug addict. What you're saying is through the power of God, I am no longer a drug addict. Not by anything that I have done, but by everything that he did. And so I just call upon each and every one of us that are in Christ to share your testimony. Because one thing that has always stuck to me is that you may be the last person, that's someone that's on the brink of life, on the edge of giving up. You might be the last time that they hear the Gospels ever. And one of the scariest things that I think of is standing before Lord on Judgment Day and being like, woo, I'm good. I've said my sinner's prayer. I've lived a good life. I've done this. I've done that. Like, not by works, God, but by faith. And then he looks at me and says, why didn't you tell that story? I put these 3 or 4 people in your lives and I wanted you to have an impact upon them, and you never spoke to them. You never shared your testimony. It's good and all that you're here with me, but there's probably 10 people that you left behind that should be before me today. And guess what? They are now sent to hell, the lake of fire for eternity, because you didn't share your story. When I have that thought, I think to myself, I want to be a freaking billboard for Christ, not out of fear, but out of the sheer notion that I have a responsibility to share the goodness of God in my life. Because it started with Jesus and 12 disciples. And to this day, we talk about, we praise, and we celebrate the Lamb. So never forget that. It started with 12. So if 12 disciples can tell their testimony, and it now spread for over 2,000 years to millions upon millions upon millions of people, think of the impact you can have in your lunchroom at work, on break, or in the classroom with other students, or as you're shopping in the mall and you bump into an old friend that you know may not be in Christ and may be having a hard time, or just the person you see as you're pumping the gas at the gas station, or charging your car at the EV station, whatever. You look across and say, hey, let me tell you how good Christ has been in my life. And if they don't want to hear it, that's okay, move on to the next. But I'm telling you, 1 out of 5 people is going to say, let me hear that story. And you're going to plant a seed in them, and it's going to grow in their life. And you truly can stand before God one day and know proudly that it wasn't just about me getting here, that I shared my testimony, God, every chance I could. And I brought so many others. And I know, like, for instance, like, I'm an extrovert. I don't care to talk to people. My wife will not talk to anybody unless you force her. She's an introvert, doesn't like it. That's okay if you're an introvert. You find other ways to minister. Like, my wife literally will take these little bracelets that we bought off of Amazon. They have little scriptures on them, and she will place them. She works in the hospital, places them all around the hospital. She doesn't tell anyone she's doing it because they're probably going to be like, nah, don't do that, right? But in the labor area, in the stalls of the restrooms, on the counters in the hallways, someone's going to pick it up and they're going to throw it away, or they're going to read it and they're going to keep it. And it's a little gift that says, hey, if you found this, is for you. Find a way to minister. I'm just sharing with you one way that my wife does it, because she is not a talker. But there are ways that we can do this. You guys stay blessed. This is Eric Scott with the Lions Faith Podcast. And never forget the importance of telling your testimony, because there is somebody, I promise you, that needs to hear it. You guys stay blessed. I love you.